How you doing, YouTube? Matt with Massive Beer Reviews. Back with yet another review. A little bit of Belgian-centric triple time in the form of Ecliptic Brewing's Callisto. It is a triple brewed or made with Blackcurrants. Never had this before. Had a couple Ecliptic beers over the years. Initially kind of brought to my attention by David. He actually sent me a beer mail not too long ago. And I had a couple of their beers from them, but I was lucky enough to kind of connect with the brewery, and they've sent me a couple stuffs and things over the past few weeks, and this is one of them. As far as what else it says on this bottle, it says Callisto Blackcurrant Triple, 2017 edition, Belgian-style ale brewed with blackcurrants. It's 7.5% alcohol by volume. Over here it says Calypso Blackcurrant Triple is named after the outermost of Jupiter's 4 Galilean moons, and the most heavenly cratered object in our solar system. This golden Belgian triple style ale features traditional flavors of sweet triple with the addition of tart blackcurrants. So yeah, I mean, you don't see a ton of blackcurrant beers. I think, just off the top of my head, a bulk of them have usually been kind of stout-based, which kind of makes sense because there's a bit of tartness there, so you want a bit of hefty sweetness to kind of balance that off. But triple fits the bill, too, with that, so hopefully it shows improves. Otherwise, it's cool. It's Ecliptic. They do the whole solar system kind of thing, so it's a cool little, like, picture of a moon. Yeah. From NASA, too, and over here it says, where was it? I saw it somewhere. It says here, photo, courtesy of NASA, so that's actually a picture. I'm sure they've tweaked and screwed with it, because planets usually just don't look like that, so. Anyway, so we have a Belgian triple. What are we expecting from that? We're expecting, well, that is fruity looking. We're expecting a kind of, you know, sweet malt forward with a bit of kind of yeast-centric, maybe a little bit of spiciness, maybe a little pepperiness kind of going on. And you had that blackcurrant in there. It could come off a little bit kind of jammy, but it also most likely come off a little bit more tart-like. Usually when you're dealing with kind of blackcurrants in like culinary world or in the real world, they do come off quite a bit tartar. So you're going to kind of put them in jams and jellies and kind of sweeter things to kind of balance it off. So hopefully the beer does that. You know, finger and a half, infinite creaminess. I mean, it's got a nice kind of raspberry tinted colored head to it, coming from those blackcurrants. Pretty much microscopic bubbles, sands, a few kind of neurotic stragglers. Pretty damn clear, almost magnifying glass clear, with a subtle kind of snow globy kind of carbonation to her. So she's pretty beer. Let's put her that way. See if we can get a nose on her. Yeah, there's like a raspberry vibe to it. There's a sweetness, there's a little bit of tartness to it, but nothing over the top in either direction. She smells nice. Approachable, berry-like, but not super sweet, not super jammy, more kind of like a fresh berryness to her. The triple in there isn't too prevalent. I'm not getting like a big kind of, oh, this is a Belgian triple vibe from it. But I'm getting Belgian vibes. Let's put it that way. It's got a nice kind of yeastiness, a little bit of dryness, a little bit of pepperiness to it. Nothing too crazy. Just she smells pretty balanced. Pretty restrained while at the same time showcasing what it's supposed to showcase with a little bit of yeastiness and a little bit of that blackcurrant. So let's dive in. Cheers. That's tasty. That's a good beer. That's a tasty beer. Is it a Belgian triple? Really hard pressed to say that. It comes off very beer de garde to me. The currants shine in here, but not in a way that you would think if you've had them kind of in the real world. The tartness is just enough to kind of balance off the sweetness of the beer. It's a relatively sweet beer, but it's not like tart in a kind of sour way. It's more just tart rather than sour. When you talk about tartness and beer, usually kind of assuming there's a bit of a sour note to it. No, that's not the case here. You're just getting a bit of tartness on top of the sweetness with not much sour to be found. It comes off very kind of somewhere between a red and a dark kind of raspberry-like flavor-wise, with a little bit of extra tartness, A little bit of earthiness to it, a little bit of greeniness to it. Not necessarily like a green, kind of weedy, smoky, kind of hop level greeniness. More of like a kind of vegetal greeniness. Nice mouthfeel to it. Soft carbonation. Like I said, it's not necessarily like you wouldn't scream Tripel drinking this beer. But it has this kind of malt yeast soul to it that kind of screams Belgian. And I kind of go to the Bière de Garde route on this one because it just has that vibe of some of the better kind of Bière de Gardes that I've had, whether it be some, I'm like me, a little bit of mistletoe from Smutty Nose. I like some other kind of Osthaus had a Bière de Garde that was really nice. I know that is kind of like a catch-all kind of phrase when it comes to a lot of beers. Sometimes they use it more like a Grand Cru as far as reference when they put out beers. But for me, a more traditional Bière de Garde is kind of like those Belgian beers that necessarily fall into a more kind of compartmentalized line of Belgian beers with a little bit of kind of extra bits and pieces, kind of adjunct-wise, whether it be fruit or whatnot. I know that's not necessarily your kind of definition BJCP-wise of what's going on, but that's what I think of when I think of kind of your kind of Bière de Garde beer. So that's where this one lands for me. It just has that kind of extra adjuncty leading kind of fruity note to it with a Belgian overtones, Belgian undertones, Belgian side tones and overtones and undertones, all the kind of tones to make it a really fun beer and something that I could drink the living shit out of. It comes off not even close to 7.5%. It's just tasty and delicious. Yeah, good beer. Let's talk about it. Is it one of the better Belgian triples I've had as of late? No. Is it one of the better Bière de Gardes I've had as of late? Sure. I don't have them in often, so I would default to that. It's a weird beer. I enjoy it. It's hitting the spots for me. I don't think this is a beer a lot of people will kind of clamor over just because these kind of beers, these kind of fruited malt forward beers, it's just not what people look for nowadays. But if you're into Belgians, you'll be into this. We'll get to that towards the end. Value and availability, I don't know. I was lucky enough to have Ecliptic send it off to me, so thank you very much, guys, for that. But at the same time, somebody chime in, let me know what's what as far as availability and price, and leave you with if you like what we like this. If you like Bière de Gardes. We're going to get that simple for it, but that's what it is. It's a fruit-forward, not overly sweet, yeast-driven, malt-driven beer that is balanced and super drinkable. It's very kind of seasonal. This is a very kind of Christmassy beer for me. This is a very winter beer for me. Bière de Gardes tend to come off that way. So if you like those kind of fruited seasonal beers, if you like Bière de Gardes, if you like kind of like it's not as sweet, but if you like your kind of delirium red kind of beers, you'll be into this. Because it's kind of like, imagine like a Lambic without sour components, with a subtle tartness. That's where it lands. And it does a pretty good job of that. And it's pretty damn tasty. So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. If you didn't, anywhere in between, down there, words and stuff and things. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Untapped, Massive Beers, all four of those places if you want to check this dude out somewhere else. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a nice, I'm going to just call it a Bière de Garde right now. And hope we'll see you next time. Cheers.